Hi everybody, my name is Audrey Shantz and I'm a watercolor artist and a watercolor teacher, and I thought I would do something just a little bit different today. I had this idea that what if we took our color palette, whatever you've got on your current watercolor palette, and we learned to make gray out of everything you've got on your palette. So if you've got an empty palette, maybe you save this video for another day, but if you've got one like this, then let's take a look. So this video is totally just for fun, but we are in the middle of a Wednesday's weekly watercolor situation. And so we do have weekly videos coming out if you're interested in another one. But for now, I was just like, look at this, let's figure it out. So the first thing that you need to know is that two colors on the color wheel that are opposites from each other would give us gray. So if we've got green and red, blue and orange, purple and yellow, those are our pairs. There's just 3 to remember, but not every color here is an exact one, right? So like, for example, if we were to take this one here is, let me see if you can see that color better, is like a kind of a yellow orange. Okay, so if it's a yellow orange, it would put us sort of between the two, which might give us like a bluish purple would get us gray. So I just thought, well, what if then we look at our palette and see if we could find, for example, that bluish purple. So I'm just going to take my brush, dip it in the water, and go somewhere between here. I might even grab a little bit of this, a little bit of this. Okay, and I'm going to put it here, and we're going to see if we make gray. I'm adding water. And the point is that everything on our palette will turn gray. It's cool. Let's actually not try to make them all look like black plus water. You know what I mean? But like some version of gray. And I actually think or a neutral, because that's like a really cool color. So though we may alter this, let's leave it for a second, clean our brush, and now let's move to blue. This one really is just pretty much a standard blue. So across from it would be orange. Why don't you pick one and try it? I'm going to pick just like straight up orange for a minute, grabbing some of that plus water on my brush. And I'm going to add more water, and so that I kind of mix the whole thing. This one really leans towards green, okay? So in this case, if it leans towards green, maybe we go across from green and add a little bit of red. Tiny bit. Let's see what happens. It's like a brownish, so everything's leaning towards brown or red for me. So I'm going to go into green again. And that's like a pretty nice neutral. I added just a little bit more of that green. I don't want to go too heavy though, or I'll tip it the other direction. Okay, that's a really nice neutral there as well. So in the category of gray, we don't all want it to be like black plus water still, but we'll change these again if we decide that we need to. So we've got red, across from red is green. I'm just gonna pick one. And now I want to be able to also play with those, so I don't want to take this too much outside. Like I don't want to touch those other colors too much. Definitely needs a little bit more green. And that, man, this is a nice color. Okay, so we're finding neutrals on everything here. I'll clean my brush. I don't want to work here yet because it's, well, I'm going to come over here. I got pink. I'm going to go into some green. And you're guessing each time based on like, where do you find that in there? Like which green would do it? And you're playing. This is just experimenting. And it'll change everything that you've got on your palette. Okay, I did, and it quickly changed it here, so I don't need a lot of that green. But if it really is, you know, I do want gray more. So the more I add, and like I can darken it too if I wanted to. And then you get this really nice neutral. I like that. That looks cool. We got this giant thing of green. Let's get into that. I'm going to grab some red. Now reds kind of go quick, so I would just slowly change that one and bring in water so that you're taking in the whole dried paint. Okay, bring the whole thing in there. And that's definitely leaning more towards like a brownish red color, so I'll add some more green. Ooh, I might have gone too far. We'll see though. And we're just mixing it for these neutrals. Now, it's interesting. It depends on what you're wanting to do with this. This is a really great color, and you see how they're all different, but really cool. I might go like this is it. But if I am not sure, then I'll bring in some more red. And then this is interesting. I might do a bluish green and see what happens. But see how it changes every time? You can get a whole plate full of really good neutrals here. Okay, we're going to get into the yellow. And actually, we could just try mixing these two, but we don't have to. I want a whole bunch of puddles. So first I'm going to grab some of this white that had the purple in it. Since yellow is really light, I don't want to overpower it immediately. But then I'll bring some of that purple in. And now if you were doing something that required shadows or something, like that might be exactly what I want, though it's more of a tan than a gray. And then this one's right here. So this is a purplish red, which means maybe a yellowish green. So I'm going to try that. Maybe I'll get into both of these over here. And water. And one thing that I think really makes artwork look more realistic and less cartoon-like is just to have a bunch of neutral colors. So in fact, that's not what I would think of when I think gray, but I'm going to leave it because look how neutral that is. And then I think, okay, this is actually black, so that'll be fun. And here's some water. So that's the color I was like, let's try to get them all like this, but it's not exactly going there, but I love what's happening. Kind of a standard green. We can try with red again, but now I'm going to try pink. I'm going to try something a little different. See what happens. Trying to grab all that green in there. And the thing is, when you get to this point, if you're like, that's not what I wanted, then, you know, you can use all your other colors too to get it there. So sometimes I get to this and I'm like, no, I need some blue. Get your blue in there and see what happens. I do find that in gray, I like blue a lot. That's a really nice color right there. And we've got blue, so we would add orange. If I try a darker one, I feel like I'm going to get purple. So I'm going to go with like light orange. Oh, and that's a nice color. It's almost olivey. But now I've got an entire palette. Oh, let's do this one last one. It's kind of like mustard, which is a yellow with a bit of green in it. So let's try a purple with some red, which would be this one down here. I might have grabbed too much. We'll see. And I'm going to mix them up. But this is a good experiment just to do one day when you're done painting. And you still want to just watch paint and water play. I really like that. Now, if I'm like, that's not what I wanted, maybe I grab this blue color. Maybe I grab something else off my palette, and then you can continue to change everything. But do you remember where we started? This is way, way different. Cool, huh?